I just wanted to do a quick video explaining how to maximize and get the most out of this to-do list, because if you've had a look at it, it's not as straightforward. You write a task and here's a checkbox like most to-do lists are. This is one where I believe you can get much more out of your productivity. You can be much more organized if you're a bit scatterbrained like me, or you have lots of different things, lots of moving parts going on in your life and various tasks. This will be really helpful for you to keep you on track. Firstly, apologies, I do have a bandage on my hand. I'm going to be using using this hand as I'm right-handed as I'm showing you things, so apologies that's on there. But I just cut myself earlier, so I needed to cover that up. So what I would like to do to start off with is just run through the various pages that we've got here. And I've got some examples of how I would approach using this to-do list. So we've got the cover page, which is just simply where you open up to. Then we've got the task schedule, which the main purpose is once you've got your to-dos and your lists made, you can then schedule it in for that given week. So you're not just having a deadline, you're actually putting a date to it to keep you much more accountable. Almost combining it with a bit of a planner effect, but in a different way, which I'll come into in a second. And then we've broken our to-dos into high and low priority, which is really important. Again, you can't just have one list with everything that's mishmashed, I think anyway. You need a list where you know actually these things need addressing first, and then we can make time for the lower priority tasks. And then the priority matrix is to ultimately, sounds like a fancy term, doesn't it, priority matrix? But it's just to help you organize your tasks into priority. And actually there might even be some tasks which you don't even need to think about in that week, or even you can just sort of take them off your list. So what I would do is, the first approach I would take is most people maybe a bit like me, where they have a number of tasks, excuse me, on their phone, perhaps on their notes page, or maybe on a paper planner, or your weekly, monthly calendar that's on the front of your fridge. Just all those tasks that you've got. Now you might just want to dive straight into the high priority, low priority to-do list and start adding them in here, which you can do. But what I would encourage you, especially if you've got maybe a big task which you might be able to break up, or just a bunch of tasks, is to start in the priority matrix. Now, these are some examples I've added in here. These are actual real life that have come from my phone as to-dos. And what you're essentially doing here is, near the top, we have the more important tasks. Near the bottom, we have the not so important tasks, but we also have the added element of some of these are urgent and some of these are not urgent. So once you're breaking it down, you're starting to get a map of what tasks we need to address first and what maybe we don't need to. Maybe we can schedule, maybe some we can delegate to someone else, maybe some we can actually get rid of altogether. So let me quickly run through these examples. Starting at probably the most important one is the tasks that are important and urgent. For me, I've got to print off a pension form there to combine a past pension with my current one. Due to circumstances which I won't bore you with, I'm having to do that sooner rather than later because it'll make life a lot easier for me. So that's really important and it's urgent. It's a pretty easy one there. This one I think you'll find most popular, which is where maybe it's not urgent, but it's important to you. So you want to get it done at some point, but you don't have to do it today or tomorrow. So I suspect this is where you'll have most tasks. So here I've got print out family photos. Very important, something I want to do, but I don't have to do it urgently. It's just something I want to do at some point. Research and book a holiday for this year. Sand and paint the ceiling. So I think there might be a long list of DIY tasks for a lot of people, perhaps. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Not urgent and not important. So these are the tasks which actually you might be able to just take them off your list completely. So I had to update my LinkedIn profile. Just something I've always done on a semi-regular basis, and so I put that on my list, but actually I have no reason to do it. It's not urgent. It's just there because I've done it in the past. So actually I'm probably going to take that off my list because it shouldn't really play a part in my to-do list, I believe, at this point in time. And then here, this is a bit of a tricky one, I would say. to balance an urgent task, but it's actually not that important. So an example here is I have a bunch of emails, not work related, just personal emails that people have shot across. There may be due to requiring a bit of or maybe they want a response a bit sooner, or maybe it's just polite to reply a bit sooner. It is quite maybe an urgent thing, but actually it's not important. They're not relying on me for anything in particular. It's just emails that I've got to respond to. So maybe I could, in fact, I might be able to schedule them, or maybe I could, between me and my wife, we can break those down and delegate them and sort through them at some point. So I suspect this area might be a bit harder to come by, but you get the idea here. And you also have a task section at the top. So it might be that you have a really big task and you just want to work through all the subtasks, break it up and figure out what you want to tackle first, and then a notes section should you need it. So that's the priority matrix, and that's where I would suggest you start, especially if you have a group of tasks. Then you dive into the fun bit, which is my personal favorite part of the planner, is the priorities or the to-do lists. So as you can see, as I said earlier, it's not just a line and a simple checkbox. There's quite a lot to these to-dos. So here, if you can see it okay, you've got the area where you put the task, you've got the status update, so you can have not started, in progress, or blocked. What I love about this is it's really visual, so I don't even have to read it. I can scan down this page. You see I've highlighted various things, and I can just see here, like, okay, these have not started, this one's blocked, and this is in progress. So you can just scan through your various pages, and you generally get a gist of how you're doing with your tasks. Obviously, deadline is an important one. I would encourage everyone to set a deadline to a task, even if it's low priority, so it doesn't just keep getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And then perhaps the most satisfying one to complete, which I will do now for you, is the progress bar. So there's 10 different shaded sections here. So if you want to get granular, you can break it up into 10% increments as how you feel you are progressing with the overall task. So rather than shade it in, my personal favorite way to approach this is with the highlighter and doing the straight line tool. So let's say you're halfway through a task, just bring it across there, and that's really satisfying to do. And then you can see that actually with this task, obviously I haven't completed it, but as an example, I know I'm about halfway through, so we're progressing nicely with that, unless I was to shade in this and say that actually we were progressing, but now we're blocked. And lastly, we have the sub to-do list. So you've got 3 bullet points here where you might want to break down this task into 3 smaller ones. So here again is a real life example for me. Publish ReMarkable to-do PDF, which is what I've done with this. And I broke that up into design the actual content itself. I wanted to create the ad images that I put on websites like Etsy. And then lastly, actually create the physical ad and the descriptions and the various things you have to do in the background with that. So I would recommend always, where you can, break up the task into smaller chunks. And now I will say, some people might think, well, actually I might have more than 3 subtasks. And what you can do here is grab yourself your favorite pen. For me at the minute, it's the marker thin. I'm going to use grey. Draw yourself another straight line. Just go down the middle there. Oh, it's not doing the straight line function for me. We're going to try that again. There we go. Get your straight line, add in your bullet points. A bit less space, but if you really need to, you can just break that up again into 6 tasks. And I've called it a sub to-do list, but actually, whilst that was probably the main intention, there might be some tasks where you don't need the sub to-do list and you just want to add some notes, just so you have a bit of a summary of where you're up to. So you don't have to do sub to-dos, you can just add some notes in there as well. So sorry, I've knocked the camera a bit there, but that is a nice little overview of what we do here. And then we break it up into the high priority and then the low priority. And now the last thing I want to touch on before we move on to the task schedule, which you probably wouldn't have noticed, but is a feature I've designed very much on purpose is you can probably see on low priority at the top here, when you get the PDF, it says 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you've got 4 pages of low priority, 4 pages of high priority. And you can track that by seeing which square is shaded more deeply than the others. Because the background is white, you can go ahead, again, grab your favorite pen, select the white color, scribble out gently on those numbers, and you can divide up these 4 lists and categorize them yourself. So maybe rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, you have a list here for work, you have one for family, you have one for health, you have one for hobbies, or maybe you have 2 for work, 3 for work, and 1 for home. Break it up how you want. You don't have to do this, but it's again another technique that you can do to further personalize your list and enhance that productivity, I would say. So I've done it here with high priority. Just a reminder that you will have to do that on every all 4 of the pages. So here I've got 2 for work, I've got 1 for home and 1 for health. So I can go over for work 2. So this is my second list for work. And then on my high priority, this is my high priority home list, and this is my high priority health list. Again, to make it a bit quicker, you can write it out on the main page and then just go ahead, grab this tool, I don't know the name of it, but just select them all, copy and paste it on each page. Super quick to do and a really nice feature of this to-do list. Right, I don't want to take too much more of your time, but what I will cover off lastly is the task schedule. So once we've got our lists, our high priority and our low priority, the aim is to schedule it into an actual day. So we've got Monday to Sunday. If people want, I can provide one that does Sunday to Monday, yeah. People might have a preference for that, but I know generally people do Monday to Sunday. And then go ahead, work your way through your high priority first, take your subtasks or your main tasks, ones that you're wanting to work on for that given week, and put it into your task schedule. So put it into your days which you think you can get it done. And you know what, there's some times where you think, I want to do it this week, but I don't actually know what day I want to tackle this task. So go ahead and pop it into be confirmed. So here, I know I want to get mum a birthday gift. I don't know which day I'll have time to do that because of life and how busy it can be. So just pop it in there and you can assign it later. So this is really important. It's a simple page, but every week assign your to-dos to a specific day if you can, to keep you on track and accountable. So I'm going to stop there, but hopefully that's added a bit more context and colour to the to-do list and how powerful I do believe it can be. I hope you get some good use out of it. Please do send me any feedback or reviews. It's all appreciated because I do continue to work on and improve the template. Even after I've released it, I will do updates if they're needed. Thank you very much for your time and have a great day.